Hey everybody, I'm Greg. Oh, sorry, I'm Eric. And I'm here with Bruce. We don't get to talk much. It's weird being on a podcast. And then, first of all, we've never met. And then not only have we never met, but now we're on the same podcast and we rarely ever speak to each other face to face.
I'm just kept in the corner. No sort of dialogue is allowed between us. That's not true. I guess we have the ghost chat on the side, but you just get to hear my takes on things.
Which begs the question, how did I get you up in the attic if we never met in person? I don't know. Robots, I guess.
Don't you have I don't know, like a Igor or some kind of a creepy assistant that helps you?
Is that the guy's name trapped in the basement?
Well, there you go. See, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
This is like,
locked in. I got people locked in all sorts of places in the house.
what was the movie that they made before Watchers or Weapons? What was the movie before Weapons again?
Oh, Barbarian.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
you are barbarian too. You're living that.
There you
You
go.
just you have somebody in the basement, you have me in the attic, and yeah. I guess the rest of your house
speaking
is
of
a
which,
B&B.
This had nothing to do with what we're about to talk about, but Zach Krieger's doing that Resident Evil. I
Mhm.
think Kylie Reese is going to be in that.
Yes, and people are losing their minds because they're like, "This doesn't look like the Resident Evil I know," and I'm just like, "Hey, look, if he makes a
get
good
that,
movie, who
but
cares?"
I get that, but how many bad things has Kylie Reese been in? Zero. So,
That I know of, yeah, agree.
yeah.
I'm down for it. That sounds good to me.
But we're not talking about Zach Krieger. We're not even talking about Resident Evil. We're talking
No,
about a different drama called The Drama. And we're going to spoil the crap out of it because it's been out a while. People got a chance to watch it. And this is like this is one of those movies that's hard to review because the interesting stuff to talk about is what Zendaya's character reveals. First of all,
yes,
they're at a party and I can't remember exactly how it came about, but it was, hey, what's the worst thing you've done? I don't want to say, I'll tell you if you tell me. And then everyone just goes around the table saying
hmm
the worst things they've done. They get to Zendaya. Yeah, I planned a school shooting, almost did it, but backed out at the last minute. And everyone's, first of all, when you get in that situation and you say, what's the worst thing you've done? No judgments. You need to hold to that. Otherwise, you're a dickhead. I'll just say that right off the front, right off the top. You
for
know,
sure, for sure. And that's let's say that's the basis of a lot of the things that'll be conversation around this movie
yeah.
in the first place is what does it mean to have actually gone to the places that Zendaya went to? But then what
Yeah.
does it mean to be a person who asks the question and then gets the answer and then becomes a totally different person based on the answer? There's that
Well,
too. And there's one other thing I think too, but I'm not sure where you're going to come at it, so we'll talk about it. But yeah, that's the basic setup. Pattinson and Zendaya are soon to be married, right? I think they're at a tasting, like where they taste all the different meals that might be served at the wedding and drinks
okay.
and stuff. And they're all getting a little tipsy, and they're with their couple friends, I should say, which we should mention. Zendaya and Robert Pattinson are the main couple. The other couple is Rachel, played by Alana Haim. You probably know her from, what was it, Licorice Pizza?
Yeah.
She has a main role in that. And then
I
also,
I hate her character in this, but
yes, and she's supposed to be
but like,
hateable.
yeah, there you go. I don't say she did terrible. I hate her in this. I hate her character. Like basically every time she opened her mouth or was like just a judgmental, see you next Tuesday, just wanted like, just shut up.
And she's the one who brought it up. She's the
Yeah.
one who wanted to do it. So I don't know if it's because it's that mean girl energy, like she just wants to be like, hey, let's all bring something up about ourselves. And then she brings up something that's bad, but then like she can get dirt on other people. I don't know exactly, but whatever it is, she ends up using it against everybody. And then also Mamadou
It's been a minute since I've seen it. Do you remember I forget what the other, because it got to Robert Pattinson. He's, oh, I don't know, nothing. Like he didn't
yes,
really come up with anything, but I can't remember what the other two were.
I did. So recently it just came out available to rent or buy on digital. It's still pretty pricey, but I was like really excited to see it because I'd heard really good things about it. Yes, I want to mention one other too. The other member of the other couple is Mike, played by Mamadou Ati, and he is someone who was one of those guys that you'll recognize it when you see him. You've seen him in a bunch of things, but you're like, you don't know his name probably. Just say that
Yeah.
really quick. Yeah. So the other things that they had. So if I remember correctly, there was okay. I don't know if it was Rachel or not, but one of them had been taking care of a dog. What was it? They did something and they left the dog. The dog basically was left in a situation where they were in a lot of danger, and they eventually ended up being okay. There was one where there was a mentally disabled young person, and I think it was the friend of Rachel in that case that was locked in a they locked him away somewhere. They locked him in
I
a
think they locked
closet
him
or
in
a
a
room.
closet. Yeah.
And then they got freaked out and they just left. And they didn't tell anybody. And then eventually
Yeah.
the people came and found them. Now, the one I thought was most interesting was what Charlie did. Now, Charlie is the fiance. You got to figure out he's the main other character. That's Robert Pattinson's character. He says that he basically was really mean to a person online. I think it was his ex or something like that.
Oh,
And
that's
he
right.
doesn't
And
and he
it got
doesn't
him.
get into details,
Yeah, he trolled them so hard that they ended up moving.
but they ended up moving. That was the
Yeah.
key. So you don't know the details, but if you trolled someone so hard online they ended up having to move, like with their family, he must have done something pretty heinous. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
just interesting that we don't get all the details of the other people, and
I
we're
mean,
not able.
it could also been a situation where they were going to move anyway, and the time, like, because
We
it's
don't
like,
know.
oh, it's trolling them, and then he moved, and it's like people don't, families don't just up and move because their kids being picked on. That's a big undertaking and something that takes planning for sure. But
Yeah, but we don't know. That's the thing. We only know that he did something and he thinks
yeah,
that it was so bad that they moved. So we're taking his word for it, but we're also getting vague stuff, which makes you think it was probably way worse than he wants to admit. And like he's not telling us what it really was. And I think it's interesting because my first reaction at that point in the movie, I'm thinking, what was your reaction? You heard all four of those things. What was your immediate thought? Were you thinking, oh, this is going to get spicy?
my thought when she came out that it was part of a school shooting, I already knew that because I heard someone talking about it, so I already knew that was going to be a thing. But even then, I was like, oh, I did, and this is kind of what the movie explores. I did a school shooting is different than I considered it and backed out.
Yes. And
And
that's
then,
exactly what I thought at that point too. No, go ahead.
it's just if someone came to me and said, oh, I really thought hard about doing this heinous thing, whether it's a school shooting or anything. Oh, I considered murdering my kid. I considered eating this dog from the feet up while it's still alive. You can consider all sorts of things. It's not until you cross that line that you did it. And then even if you
Yes.
get so close that you're seriously considering doing it and then you back out, that's in a way that's passing the test, isn't it?
Right.
You had
Exactly.
every opportunity to do the thing and you decided not to for whatever reason.
And it's funny because your response is basically exactly what my response was, and I think it's intentional that first roundabout that we get of all the worst things of people. We hear three things that people actually did that were bad to various degrees, and then we hear one thing that somebody considered that was really bad, and everyone's judging the person that considered it and didn't do it, and everyone's not getting judged the people who actually did something. And I think that's a really interesting thing to pull out of the gate. And then I wanted to say what I think is interesting as the movie goes forward. What is really fascinating is, and really smart by the writer. Is the director also the writer? I didn't notice that. The Christopher Borgli. I think he is.
Yes, written and
Okay.
directed.
What I thought he did was really interesting because obviously that's the opening kind of inciting moments of the rest of the movie. Everyone at that point forward, everything's going crazy and unraveling to various degrees. The relationship's unraveling, the friendships are unraveling, the people are getting weird towards her. She can't put the genie back in the bottle, all that kind of stuff. But I think what's interesting is as more of that story of her considering to do a school shooting comes out, the writer director doesn't let her off the hook. It doesn't let us off the hook. He keeps upping the ante, right? Because you're thinking like, I want to hear more about this, and you want to hear, oh, she thought about it, never did it. No, she thought about it, and she got her dad's gun, and she's
She went to
definitely
target practice.
She went to target
made
practice.
videos for if you're reading this, I'm already dead.
She did all the things to the point of, I think she even said she brought the gun to school. I think if I remember correctly, she got basically other than pulling out the gun and starting shooting, she did every step. So he could have made it much easier for us to let her off, but he made it as hard as possible, even to the point where the reason she didn't do it wasn't because she got to the point and her conscience got too great and bore down on her and she couldn't handle it. She didn't do it because another shooting happened nearby.
See, I read that differently. I read that the other shooting happened and that she saw people's reactions and that's what triggered her empathy for the situation.
It's interesting when you watch it because it lets you do that, but it also makes it seem like you could take it two ways. So if you really are
Yeah.
against her, you could take it as, oh, you're against her, and she just didn't get to do it because she would lose some of her notoriety. She'd go out in a blaze of glory, but she wouldn't be as big of a story. Or the
Well,
like
yeah,
you said.
but they
No,
also
I'm
have
not saying
things
you're
where,
wrong. I'm saying that's
oh
a
no,
way you
but
could look at it.
what I'm saying is like they were doing that exercise where they have to walk around, stop, all right, look at the person in front of you, and then she started
Yeah.
crying. I think that other shooting happening allowed her to see the aftermath of what she was about to do. And I think that she was disgusted with herself, and then she was, because I totally get like why she wanted to do the school shooting, because you get picked on a lot and was just
Feel
constantly
powerless
bullied.
and yeah.
Everyone's a piece of crap. That screw all of you. I want to kill all of you. I even get that mindset. But then to be just locked in on her world in that moment, I want to kill everybody, them all, and then see the actual aftermath of when that happens. Oh, I could have caused this. Oh, I'm looking at this person and they never picked on me. They never did anything. Why do they deserve to die?
Yeah.
Oh, this person's crying that I've never even met. This person's crying that they're dead, their lives ruined, and they had nothing to. And so now she's starting to see
Right.
how wide that kind of terror goes.
Yeah, like you could never go to your own funeral and see that, oh my gosh, all these people really did care about me. I never knew when I was alive that was the
Yeah.
case. It's a version of that. She gets to see, or what is it? Is it Tom Sawyer, where they fake their own deaths and they go to their own funeral? I don't know if you've seen that before, but I think that happens in there. Or Huck Finn, maybe. So maybe the idea is, like you said, is that she's, wow, I would actually impact things in a lot more than I thought I would. Because I think the thing that's interesting too in this movie is that I feel like she's the most empathetic character, probably the most. She
Yeah.
thinks more about other people and seems to be a super caring person, which is what makes everyone freak out even more about her, right? Whereas you see, on the other hand, you could claim that Alana Haim could be like overtly the worst character, right? She's just vindictive and cruel and just a heinous person.
The worst part is if she would, I think you're right. If she's the one that started the whole thing.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no judgments. What is it? This will be
Mhm.
fun. And then, okay, no judgments. This is what I did. And then immediate judgment. That's gaslighting 101.
Yes.
And like you're drawing out someone's like most vulnerable thing they're sharing with you. And they're sharing with you because they trust you, and you immediately turn on them with no
Immediately.
sort. Oh, my cousin died in a mass shooting or school shooting or whatever. Okay, that's tragic, but you got to put yourself in a new context. You brought this up. You invited the vulnerability, and now you're immediately turning back on it. Like if you're not willing to take those answers in stride and in the
Right.
way in which you presented it, don't ask the question. Don't play the game.
And why, if she was like that, she already played it at least once before with somebody else. She didn't probably bring it up the first time, but like, how did that one go down? I guess it was just fun for her.
What was the worst thing you did? Oh, I mixed salt with sugar and
Yeah, and somebody's cake and they ate it and was like, "Oh my gosh, that's terrible tasting." Wasn't that cruel of me? No, I wanted to bring
But
up too how
if there's anything to learn from this movie, when you're in that situation, tell us anything, no judgments. Just
don't believe anybody when they tell you that, and don't do it. Yeah,
keep your skeletons in your closet, because which sucks. You should be able to just be free with certain friends. Of course, you gotta know your audience, I guess. But yeah, or if you don't have any shame, you just say everything. And they judge me. I don't care.
yeah, there are those people too.
But let me break out the list of all the things he can judge me about. This is the least of it.
I wanted to also talk about a little bit about the Charlie character too, because I think he is really interesting as well. Because obviously our main two characters is going to be Emma and Charlie. Robert Pattinson's character. It's funny because we spend the whole first, it's probably almost a half hour before we have that big reveal, right? At least 20 minutes, I think. And a lot of it is like kind of the meet cute and all of their kind of their romance, and just to get you so invested in the two of them and how they're just, I don't know, quote unquote meant for each other or whatever. But I think it's funny because the very first time we see him, we see how he's doing things in a weird way out of the gate. Like, dude, he bases everything on lying to her. And it's interesting too, because it's like, sure, okay, we put out our, best foot forward, or we try to be a certain way to attract another person or whatever. But he goes to the point of, the first thing we see is I think he's in a coffee shop, and she's in a coffee shop, like reading a book and drinking her coffee, and she leaves her seat for a second. He runs over to her book, takes a picture of it, runs back to his chair, and then researches the book, so he can come over and approach her and pretend like he's read the book. And then they show they keep doing kind of it's almost like a montage of their relationship up to the final week before the wedding. And they show how she finds out eventually that he didn't really read the book. And he keeps lying about it, but keeps eventually lying less about it because he gets caught in some way. And it's just interesting how he continues along that path through the entire movie, even after the fact. He keeps doing things that are
even at the end where she's like, "Hi, I'm so and so," and then like when they're doing that, let's start over. He lies again.
Yes, he does.
He learned nothing. He learned nothing through this whole thing.
And there's a whole thing in this whole movie all the way around about like honesty and lying, and it's very complicated. You're always having to push yourself into one boat or the other. Like, is that better or worse? Even to the point at the end, like you said, because they go through all this stuff and they're basically torn apart by it, and they still end up maybe meet cuting again, but they both know everything at this point. But you don't know. It's almost like the ending of what was it? And oh my gosh, I forgot the name of it. The Jim Carrey movie and Kate Winslet. You know what I'm talking about. Where they keep erasing their memory of their relationship.
Oh, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, that thing at the end of that movie where it's like, if you know what's going to happen and it's going to keep getting erased, would you still keep giving it a chance? It's not the same as that, but it's the idea of if you know now the doom that might be headed towards you, do you still get together? And is that good or is that bad? There's a feeling of that at the end of this movie because they're literally beat up at the end of this movie. She's in her tattered wedding dress. He's beaten up because a whole bunch of stuff we don't need to get into. And then they're trying to pretend, almost do this fake little play version of their meet cute to maybe get back together again. Like, how did you read that ending? I was a little bit thrown off by it.
I saw that at the time. I was kind of like, this is just a lame screenwriting thing that people do. Hey, let's start over, Bruce. Hi, my name's Eric. How are you doing? Hi, I'm Bruce, blah, blah, blah. I was like, have you not seen that 100 times in any other romantic comedy?
Sure.
But then thinking about what that means. So they're taking definitely a cliche, but then what does that mean in the context of what we just saw? Ever since she came out with what she said, she's wanted to put that back in the toothpaste tube.
Mm-hmm.
She's wanted to put that back since the beginning. So actually, I'm just thinking this now. I wonder if him lying isn't him. He didn't learn anything. I wonder if it's him acknowledging, yeah, we can do this. I think none of what you said about the school shooting, I'll forget all of it. Because hey, I'm a liar and I'm happy living a lie, and she's happy if we just don't talk about it.
That could be the way to read it. I think you might be right there, because the real impediment, once she let it all out of the bag, she was still going to be with him, but he was just like, it was one of those things where he's haunted by it. He can't not see her now as a school shooter. From the moment he hears that, he keeps trying to do things and keeps hearing and seeing that's who she is, and keeps seeing he saw the picture of her when she was a teenager. So that's how he imagines her looking at the time. And he keeps seeing her like that, or holding a gun in his mind, all these kind of things. So I think you're right.
That's why they're perfect for each other. She wants to live a lie. He's a liar.
Kind of. They're the toxic couple that perfectly works. There's another thing I watched recently. I won't spoil it here because I've already spoiled it in another video, but there's another thing where a bunch of people that are it's how do you know you have your perfect match? And there's all these different couples and things in there. And there's a way you find out you're not a perfect match, almost a magical way. And at the end, these two that you thought were toxic the whole time are the only ones that are still together. And it's, they're toxic, but they're actually their perfect match because they're both so equally toxic. And I guess in a way, that's what these two are. In a way, I think she's not as bad, other than maybe she just wants to be accepted. He's definitely terrible throughout, though. I think you don't want her to be with him. He's even to the point that was he talking to the other woman, his coworker or whatever, and he makes a pass at her. And it's just terrible. You just like, get away from him.
And then he gets beat up at his wedding, not for having sex with her, but for sexually harassing her.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh.
So there's another one. There's just lies all over the place.
Lies all over the place. And this is, as far as movies where it'll make you talk about what the heck, who's bad and who's not bad and what's worse and all those kind of judgments. But also if you just, those really uncomfortable moment after moment where you leave the bomb under the table, Hitchcock thing, it's a version of that where we all know what's going on, but not everybody in the room knows what's going on. It's a lot of that stuff. Like, for example, there's a moment where her dad gives the speech at the wedding, and you're just like, oh no, we know, but he doesn't. And you're just waiting for everything to start falling apart. And it's
I was
great.
getting what's that movie? The Celebration.
Yes.
I was getting heavy vibes of that throughout this, especially during the wedding. Probably just because of the setting, but also like something's gonna come up, and you're just waiting for it. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop, so to speak, and
That would be a perfect pairing, I think. This one and the Celebration, and also the movie I didn't like so much, but I think you would probably like it in there too. It was the one that was last year, the one where the whole family had the crazy political stuff going on as time went on.
Was it called like How About Adolf? Where they're gonna name the kid Adolf,
Yes.
and then
Yeah, how about Adolf?
they start complaining about that, and then other things get brought up till they get to the very end. But see that's got a completely different take than this, because at the end of that, it's okay, all this stuff's out on the table finally, but we're still family. We still love each other. We gotta.
It's more the sitcom approach to it, I guess. It's a little lighthearted and goofy.
With How About Adolf, it just kind of ends with, or at least the version we saw, because I think that one's been remade like 8, 9, 10 times, I'm sure.
Right.
But the one that we saw anyway, it ends, here's everything out on the table that we've been holding back all this time. But we're family. We love each other. We're going to get past this eventually. With this, the lies and deceit and the distrust and all that just breaks everything apart.
True.
Like everything falls apart. And then they finally, with our read on it anyway, the end of it is that I want to bury the past and you're a liar, so we're good for each other. On one hand, it feels like it's devaluing honesty, but on the other hand, it's almost like valuing honesty, because it's like, hey, if you don't value honesty, this is what you have to look forward to. Enjoy.
Right. And if you don't want honesty, you better not ask for it, because if you get it, you're not going to be able to handle it. You're going to be, because almost everyone gets just wrecked by the end of this. You're right. I think your read on the end of it is probably the most, I don't know if correct per se, but it makes the most sense to me, because
like,
it's almost like
thematically with everything else.
And with his character especially is the one I'm thinking about, because the way he
Meanwhile,
is.
the writer's watching this going, oh, geez, it was just a cliche, but I'm going with that.
No, I still think it's a pretty excellent movie. I think even if you know the twist, it's a really good movie. I did not know the twist, because I knew there was a twist, and I knew the basic setup. I knew the tell me your worst thing, but I didn't know what her worst thing was going to be. I actually thought it was going to be something else, but they mentioned that right out of the gate, that it's not that. And I was like, because I thought it was going to be the whole dog thing from Sleeping Dogs. And then they immediately said that, almost, we know you're going to think this, it's not this. So that was pretty great. But yeah, I didn't know, so I got to just get it hit me almost organically. I think even better is if you didn't know if that was happening at all, because you could believe this is just like a elevated rom-com if you didn't know any better, and then you hit that moment, it would just throw a loop in there. But either way, it was I thought really.
I would call it a dark rom-com, because there's definitely comedic elements to it, but you got to be a sick like this seems. I know they reviewed it on Film Ball, but this seems like something Anderson would watch and laugh his ass off through. Most of it, where normal people would be like, "What the?"
It is supposed to be funny, though. It's supposed to be funny all the way around. It's supposed to be funny, but it's just so dark. Yeah. I think because even something as simple as you meet her and she has only hearing in one ear, and that's played off as a reason they can't meet cute quite the normal way, and it's like endearing and all this stuff, and then you find out like, oh yeah, I hurt my ear when I was trying to target practice for my school shootings. That's funny. It's ridiculous, but it's also terrible at the same time. So.
We kind of already talked about this, but when he first met her and he was looking at the book and just basically he was going through all that trouble just to lie to her, to be able to talk to her, when something just as easy would be like, hey, what you reading there?
Because that was his essential character, right? His essential character is he is such a fearful person.
It would be easier for him to not lie and just, hey, what you reading there? And strike up a conversation that way. But lying is so ingrained into his DNA, he's got to take extra steps.
I think I think you're right. It's lying, but it's not only lying, it's lying because he's so unconfident and fearful in every aspect of his life. He doesn't have the ability to just be like, to be vulnerable in any way. He has to be like, oh, and then make up some lie that'll get him around that. He can't just be like, hey, I saw you. You're sitting over here, and I just have to come up and say hi. And I was wondering what you're reading. It looks
Well,
really interesting or something.
he didn't even have to do that. She's reading the
No.
book, like, hey, what you reading there?
Yeah.
And that's it. And then she's
And
either going to
either
say,
she
oh,
says
this is
like,
blah, 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 and she's accepting of the conversation, or she's, oh, yeah,
bug off, buddy.
this, and then, okay, never mind, we'll move on.
Yeah. But he couldn't do that. He had to weasel his way into it. And he kept doing that over and over again. To the point, like you said, at the very end, it almost like they both accepted each other's most essential flaw.
Yeah.
The most essential flaw of his was lying, and her most essential flaw was, she did this once, and you never know, it might happen again, but probably not. But you just have to be ready for that. That's kind of what his problem is.
The thing is that's not even her. That's not even her flaw. That's her having a certain mindset as a child, and then growing out of that.
You don't really even know what her flaw is.
The worst thing she's ever done was something that she did when she was a teenager.
Yeah, which
it's like,
put yourself in those shoes. Everyone's done terrible things.
Oh yeah,
I would say a simple comparison would be like, how many people would have that same thing and could say, I was a bully or I bullied somebody? I'm sure that would be the most easy to find comparison, that tons of people have bullied somebody, even if they were bullied mostly and then they bullied one person, they bullied somebody. And it's sure not as extreme of an example, but it's the same idea. That doesn't mean you're a bully for the rest of your life. You could learn from that and be like the best person ever for the rest of your life, and totally kind and empathetic and gentle and everything. And that doesn't, because if you look at her, we really didn't see anything much that was bad about her. She was painted as the most generous, caring person of all the main characters in the movie, honestly. I think. I don't know what you.
Also, she was able to grow on her own. She wasn't guilted into it. She wasn't she didn't get caught and was reprimanded and I won't do it again, because then that's, did you really change, or are you in trouble now and trying to, she found, granted that other shooting that happened helped trigger all that, so to speak. But she came to the decision to not do it on her own. She came to the decision to change all on her own.
Yes, I agree.
And it's different than I went to prison, I found Jesus, and I'm a better man now.
Yeah, the old, I'm heading to the gallows. I guess I better become a.
I wonder. I know that's not the point of this movie, but I wonder what someone who is thinking about doing a school shooting or just anything heinous like this, I wonder what they would, probably a younger person, adult thinking that's probably old dogs don't learn new tricks, but like a teenager watching this, I wonder, that has those thoughts. I wonder if a movie like this might re-gear some cogs in their head to make them think something else.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm sure that's what some people that would be against this movie would be very upset, because it could be seen as forgiving it or glorifying it or all these kind of, I mean, I'm not saying that's what the movie does. I'm saying people could be but angry about it.
And someone that's currently in Zendaya's position,
right?
And when she was a teenager, they're looking at her and say, yeah, she's getting pissed off. Yeah, she wants to shoot him. So do I. I totally get, oh man, she pussed out. Why'd she puss out? And then we see all the rest of the stuff and say, maybe, okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I'll put my manifesto away and get my business done.
I don't know. It's hard to say, because to be in that mindset, what's going to turn you is probably so many different things. Anyway, I thought it was a pretty excellent movie, pretty darn good movie, and really interesting. And one of the few, you get a lot of A24 movies and you're like, oh my gosh, here we go. It's going to be so up its own, you know what? But this one's just hits the ground running, I think, and it doesn't stop. If you're interested in the setup that it gives you and engaged in it, I mean, I think it just goes. It didn't feel boring at all, that's for sure.
Yeah. We're about out of time here, so
alrighty.
Unless you got any last things, I think we covered it. We
covered it pretty good. I guess the biggest, let us know, obviously, if your read of the ending was just vastly different than ours, or you had a totally different take. That would be interesting to read and hear, because I haven't gone down a super big rabbit hole on this yet to see how the different reads on this are. I think it was interesting that we both aligned pretty out of the gate, so maybe what we're thinking is too basic. Maybe some of us is really complicated reading. I don't know.
I think the ratings are pretty complicated, but they're complicated in ways that make sense. So it's not.
I agree.
It's complicated. It's not confusing.
If you're saying that we're smart and we got it, yes, that's right.
Oh, I'm always saying we're smart. You're definitely smart, and if we're linking up, I'm smart too, and I will take it. But
Well, I guess that means I've got to go back up in the attic, right? Is that what this is all about?
now you can go outside and touch grass today.
Ooh,
You did
grass.
good. That's your reward.
And I get water in the bowl today. This is amazing. And some sunlight. Wow. I'm like one of those
Not
cave fish. I'm like almost translucent. I've been up in the attic so much.
cool. All right.
Bye.